Well, welcome to this orientation to Kingsley College study. It's a joy to welcome you into this journey of studying with Kingsley College. I'm Kevin Brown, the principal of the college, and I look forward to giving you a guided tour through some of the details of what it means to be a Kingsley student and also some of the places to look that'll help you to succeed and to feel like you know exactly what you're doing as a Kingsley College student. So I want to share with you our Kingsley College handbook. You'll find a copy of the handbook on the college website, which is kingsley.edu.au, but you'll also receive one as you enroll and have that emailed to you. So you notice in the handbook that there's a welcome, and we say up front that Kingsley College is a partner campus of Eva Burrows College. So Eva Burrows College has a network of other colleges that work under their banner as the registered training organisation, and we are one of those colleges. So all of the materials belong to or produced by Kingsley College faculty and scholars, but the registered training organisation with the Australian government is Eva Burrows College. So as a college, Kingsley has been around for quite a while now. You'll notice in our section on our history that the college was founded by Kingsley Ridgway in 1949. So this is our 76th year of offering ministry training to men and women, to lay people, and to ministry candidates. So our style as a college involves connecting students into a class so that they can participate. So there is an onus, a responsibility on you to come to your class, having done your assigned reading, your preparation, and responding to the study questions so that you can participate freely and openly in class. So our lecturers are our facilitators, we call them. Our trainers are not primarily lecturers. They don't just do all the talking. They will facilitate your learning and want to get you engaged. So we want you to come ready to participate. We've found, and other studies on education have found, that adults learn best when they can participate and ask questions, where they can share their ideas and even have those challenged and some of the rough edges knocked off. Well, that happens in the Kingsley class as you participate together, rather than simply lecture-based training. So we offer 4 awards, and you can see here nationally recognised training from the Certificate 4, Diploma, Advanced Diploma and Graduate Certificate. So if you haven't done prior study in ministry and theology, then we would welcome you into the Certificate 4, because that's where you get the grounding, your introduction into ministry and theology and Christian formation. So we'll look some more at the details of those awards as we go on. But for pathways of where this could lead, we are glad to be able to offer training for lay people. And we have predominantly lay people in our Certificate 4, men and women who are wanting to be better equipped to serve their Lord in their local church, their community, in all sorts of different ways, whether that's as a small group leader or worship leader, kids or youth ministry, seniors ministry, though all those sorts of opportunities, but also lay preachers. The Certificate 4 is excellent training for a local preacher. But if God is calling you into pastoral ministry or chaplaincy or missions, then the Certificate 4 lays that first foundation, and then you build upon that with the diploma, and you can go on to the advanced diploma and graduate certificate. Within the Wesleyan Methodist Church, because this is the college, Kingsley College is the ministry training arm of the Wesleyan Methodist Church of Australia, your training will, to diploma level, will provide you with the ordination requirements, the study requirements to be ordained. So this is vocational training. For many years, Kingsley College offered both higher education, as in degrees and masters, alongside of vocational training. Now we just offer vocational pathways. We found that it's a way to offer very practical, deliberately practical training. So we're equipping practitioners, people who know their stuff, but also know how to do it and put it into action. But that doesn't mean you can't go on to further study. If you complete the graduate certificate, then that will give you an opportunity to apply to continue postgraduate study in a master's program at another college. So we talk here about flexibility and our trainers. We want to offer to you opportunities that are flexible. If you do have special needs as a learner, then speak with your Kingsley trainer or with me as the principal, and we'll see what we can do to cater for those needs. As far as access, normally you would need to have finished year 12 and be at least 17 to apply, but we can offer ministry training for students who are completing their senior years. They're 11 and 12. So students normally need to be making those sorts of decisions late in their year 10. So the school will be saying, what do you want to do in year 11 and 12? Well, we can include students to complete the certificate 4 while they study their year 11 and 12. So that's something to keep in mind if you have some young people in your local church or family. So talks here about access. I will show you the Kingsley the website in a minute where you can find the application and enrolment forms. But while we talk about recognised prior learning, as we come to that in the handbook, if you've done significant study or have experience in a particular area, say for example, you've done some training in preaching and you've been preaching as a local preacher for many years, then you could apply for recognised prior learning into the intro to preaching subject, because it's acknowledging your recognised prior learning. I would add, though, that you'll probably learn a lot more if you did do the subject, but if you do have skills and experience and training in a particular area, then chat to us about RPL. Yeah, changes to course enrolment. We'll have a look in a minute to the census date, one of the important dates each semester. You're able to make changes, withdraw or change your enrolment up until the census date without charge. Chat to Yvonne, our admin assistant, or to me at the college office here in Melbourne. Probably worth adding right now, while we talk about that, there is a college office here in Broadmeadows in Melbourne. That's where I'm speaking to you from. There's also a campus on the south side of Brisbane, so in Mackenzie. And then we have training centres right around the country. And we're adding training centres whenever the opportunity arises. We're about to start another training centre in Darwin. So we're training centres in Perth and Townsville and several in Brisbane and Sydney, all over the country, where our trainers connect students together face-to-face, but also join students in via web conference. So we use Microsoft Teams, and we'll have a look at that in a few moments. So that means we can have students joining us from right across the country, but also New Zealand and Bougainville and the Solomon Islands. Students joining live classes and participating together. So it's exciting to be able to gather students right across the Pacific to share their ministry experiences and particular questions that relate to their ministry context. So here we've got a table on the subject fees. You can see, for example, the certificate for each unit. There's 9 subjects in the certificate for, and each of those are $4.40. You don't need to pay the whole award up front. You just pay for what you enroll into. We always encourage you to go on to work hard and to complete your subjects within the semester so we can record your result. And we'll look at a moment. You'll be recorded as competent if you complete that subject and you've demonstrated competency. But if you don't get the work done, even with feedback from your trainer on what you need to do to complete the subject, we will record you as not yet competent. That means that you can re-enroll. It's not a fail as such, it's a not yet competent. So there is a re-enrollment fee because we need to re-enroll you and again record you with Eva Burrows College as the registered training organisation. There's a cost for that. So there is a re-enrollment fee. We'd rather you not have to pay it. We'd love to see you enrol and finish your work in the semester. So if you are a student joining us offshore, meaning not an international student, we can't take international students on an international visa, but we can take students offshore from, as I said, New Zealand, Bougainville, Solomon Islands, or other countries can join us offshore. But here's the details to make the electronic transfer to pay your subject fees. There's the bank details if you're doing an electronic transfer to pay your fees to the Westpac Bank, but those details are also on your invoice. So once you enroll, you'll be recorded as connected to a class, and our admin assistant will then raise an invoice and email that to you. And there'll be a due date on the invoice, so giving you opportunity to go ahead and sort that payment, and you can transfer those funds to the Westpac Bank. If you use your invoice number, then our admin assistant will be able to connect those dots and issue a receipt. So yeah, refund policy, if the subject doesn't run for some reason, I don't think it's ever happened, but if you do withdraw before the census date, then we would organise a refund of your paid fees. So here's some particular dates. You'll notice I want you to notice in particular the census date. So for semester 1 this year, the census date is the 25th of February. So up until that date, you can withdraw if you need to. If something happens and you think, look, I just can't manage 4 subjects, but I might be able to do 3, you could withdraw and be no charge. Or change your enrolment, switch to another subject up until that date. But after that date, if you have enrolled, you would need to pay your subject fees because we'll be reporting your enrolment to the registered training organisation and paying that fee on your behalf. So keep an eye on the census date each semester. That is your opportunity to make any changes that you need. And we come now to the details of each of the subjects. You'll notice here's the certificate 4. There's the competency code for the subject that you're completing, the competency title, but this is the subject name that you would be enrolling into. So Old Testament, New Testament, and so on. Ministry candidates within the Wesleyan Methodist Church would do professional ethics and compliance. That's what our pastors need to complete as part of their licensing. But if you're not a ministry candidate, then you have other options. So you could pick up communicating and defending your faith, or youth ministry, or children's ministry, and we will add other options there as we go on. So here's the details of the diploma. I won't go into too much detail just yet with the advanced diploma and then the graduate certificate. So we talk here about graduation and assessment and so on. Because the assessment tasks are quite practical, there will be quite a few times where you're expected to take what you're learning and use it in ministry. So we are expecting that you are active in ministry within a local church or community or volunteer situation. So we don't just say, look, write an essay. We'll say, look, develop a study and share that with people in your ministry, or prepare a message, or share that with your leaders in church as part of their own professional development, those sorts of things. So we will be looking for you to practically use what you're learning. And when you're in ministry, there's always opportunities. And so we want you to make that connection between the opportunities you have and the tasks you've been asked to complete. So as you complete each subject, you'd be recorded as competent. That's our hope, that you celebrate with you and you'll receive a record of achievement from Kingsley College, celebrating that progress in your award. So these are some of the ways that we would use assessment, quite practical. There are some written work and presentations, but then always trying to create practical ways to assess you in your ministry role. So there's some details here about submission of your work. Do encourage you to read through this, make a cuppa and sit down and have a read. There's some details here about written presentations and word count. I would encourage you to see the assigned word limits as a minimum. You can go over those, but we would encourage you to see it as a guide. For example, if you're writing twice as many words, then maybe you're going too far. But if it's not waffle, if you're staying to the task, then our trainers are happy to read your work. If you feel that you need extra words to communicate and complete the task adequately, then we're okay for you to go a bit over. So I will give you an example of how to write in a few moments, but let me touch on plagiarism for a moment. If you haven't heard that word before, really it means using other people's work and not acknowledging where you took it from. So really it is academic stealing. It's taking someone's work and stealing it, using it as your own without saying, oh, I actually took this from a book or a website. So we look upon this very seriously. You're very welcome. In fact, you're encouraged to use other sources, other books and websites or electronic resources, ebooks and so on, particularly scholarly works. But if you don't acknowledge it, then we will ask you to resubmit your work. So we meant to mention here about AI. You could use AI as a means for research, but if you use AI to compose your work, then that is plagiarism. And we will ask you to resubmit your work and to write it yourself. So presentation of work here, we give you some directions about 12 font and double line space and so on. And then also adding your references using footnotes and a bibliography. We go on in our handbook to give you some examples of what that looks like, how to add a footnote from a book, for example, and how to add a subsequent footnote. So I'll give you a quick example and I'll show you on the college website how we have a tutorial video on just these sorts of study skills. So as you study the Certificate 4, we'll give you feedback to help you to hone these skills. But by the time you're working your way through your Certificate 4, we really want to see you having nailed these study skills. Sort of alongside your learning as a ministry and theology, we do want you to get your head around how to be a student, how to be a scholar, and to reference your sources correctly. Because we're conscious that while we want to see you acknowledging your sources, we also want you, if you complete study with Kingsley and go study somewhere else, we want you to be able to show up at another college knowing how to be a student and a scholar in their format. So we will teach you these skills as you go, but always check back in your handbook for this style. I encourage our students you could save these examples of how to reference a book and a website and a journal article and so on. You could print this out and laminate it, or you could print it out and pin it to your wall, or at the very least save your handbook on your desktop so that you can quickly refer to these examples. For example, you're typing away and you're thinking, is there a comma or a full stop there? Well, just have a quick look and you'll know. So let me share with you an example in a Word document. So I've just started. I just want to make sure you can see that well enough. I've given this task a heading, and you'll notice that this is in 12 font and double line spacing. You can choose your double line up here. But just for example, say you're writing away and you make reference to a book. You draw an idea from it. You might not be quoting, but you draw an idea. Well, after the full stop, you go up here and you hit references, insert footnote. And this book was written by Timothy Keller. The title is Preaching, and you put in brackets the city, the publisher, and the date. So it looks like the publisher is London, whereas the city is London, Potter and Stoughton. You put the year, you close your brackets, and you put the page number, but you do italicize all book titles. So adding a footnote is as simple as that. You let Word do the heavy lifting by using references and insert footnote. It'll draw a line down the bottom, put a number there for you so that you can include the details. But the other thing I would encourage you to do is to copy this and go to start another page and create a bibliography. So here we will give it a heading, bibliography. We can put that in the center. I'm going quite quick, but that's because I will show you where to find a tutorial on these skills that you can watch if you want to rewatch. But I want to just quickly give you an example of what this looks like right now. So to create a bibliography reference, you'll notice that the difference between a footnote and a bibliography, the footnote has the author's first name first. A bibliography always has their surname first. So Keller, comma, Timothy, full stop. The book title is always italicized. You don't need your brackets in a bibliography or your page number, but you have the city, colon, the publisher, comma, the date, full stop. Simple as that. So I will also show you while we're at it, what Palego looks like. When you enroll into Kingsley Study as a credit student, you'll receive access to Palego. And so when you log in, we'll send you the link to create a login. When you log in, you'll see, I'll take you to the home page of Palego. But if you click on the section on reading, it'll show you the books that you've been reading. So you can see the sorts of books I've been referring to lately. But let me show you how to reference a book from Palego. So this is the textbook for the Wesleyan theology subject, In the Shadow of Aldersgate. And on that note, there are quite a few of your textbooks that are in Palego. So if you're happy reading online, you don't have to buy the book, you can read it in Palego. But of course, you're always welcome to buy a book. Some people love to hold a book in their hand. But over on this left-hand side, there's a little inverted commas symbol. If you click on that, then it shows you, it gives you the detail of the book. You'll notice up the top here that there are many options for the style of referencing. Well, we encourage you to use Chicago Manual of Style, 17th edition, full note. And once you save that the first time, Palego will always remember that that's the style you want. So here's the example of the book. Palego is helpful, but it doesn't give you everything you need. For example, look, it's missing the first name of the author. Daniel's missing. And it's put the date twice, and it's put edition unavailable. We don't need that. So I'll show you what you do. But at least it's given us some start. We'll copy. We'll go back to our Word document. Say up here, you type on and quote from a book that is in Palego. So with a quote, you would use inverted commas to show that it's a quote. So we go references, remember, insert footnote. Well, down here, I've copied that reference from Palego. So the author's name is Daniel Burnett. We'll put a comma there. We don't need edition unavailable, nor do we need the second date. We don't even really need reprint, I'll be honest. So, but in brackets, and you notice that they don't give us the city, but if it doesn't have it, that's fine. If we're using Palego, we understand. If we see this URL, this web address, we can see, they've used this book from Palego. That's why there's no city there. But you do, of course, italicize the title of a book. Go. So we've got author's first name, last name, comma, title of the book in italics, in brackets, the publisher, comma, the date, close your brackets, comma, and the web address from Palego. So Simple as that for drawing from Lego. So there's examples in your Kingsley handbook. That's where we're back to now on how to insert a reference from Lego. And here we say Chicago Manual of Style 17th edition, as I mentioned. And we show you the example of how to include Lego as a footnote, but also as a bibliography. So you'll see these examples all the way through. You get the footnote example and a bibliography example. You always check back how to insert your style here. But what I will show you also, on the college website up here under student resources, there is a referencing training video where I go a bit slower and give you some orientation into how to footnote correctly reference your sources. There's also research tips video, so how to use online sources to do research. This orientation video obviously is here, but there's a link to that'll take you directly to Lego so you can log in. And we will have a look shortly at Microsoft Teams, and there is a Microsoft Teams guide, like a tutorial guide of how to use Teams. That's very helpful too for new students. So as we go back to the college handbook again, we've written out here and included in the handbook a task example. So what that does is it sets it out in 12 font, double line spacing, and it shows you practical examples of how to insert footnotes and attach a bibliography and the style of what that looks like. So we're hoping that if you're unsure, you've not only got examples, but you've got a written example that looks like a task. But as it's worded as a task, it's describing how to correctly reference your sources. So I give you some guidance here on academic research, some places to look. There is also helpful books in the Eva Burrows College at Ringwood in Melbourne, but there's also access to books via ebooks at this same Eva Burrows College library. So as we go on, we'll provide our students also with the means to log into that library. So you've got Kingsley Library here in Ringwood, in Broadmeadows and in Mackenzie. You've got small libraries at your training centre. You've got Lego, and then you've also got the Eva Burrows College Library that offers print books in Ringwood in Melbourne, but also ebooks. So there are plenty of resources for you to access. And we encourage you to use scholarly sources rather than simply searching whatever you can find on the internet. Because some sources are really helpful on the internet, others are just rubbish, I'll be honest. So here we've got some examples of scholarly sources for you to track down some helpful sources online. So have a read through this handbook. There's a section on appeals and complaints. I will add that we've never had to go beyond sorting out a difficulty between a student and a trainer to initiate an appeals or a grievance policy, but it exists. And the reason that it exists is so that you don't feel trapped, that you have opportunities to resolve any concerns that you have. There's work health and safety guidelines here. We encourage you to set your desk up, your laptop or PC up in a way that you can sit straight and get up and go for a walk regularly, have a break so that you don't get stiff and sore from studying in one place for too long. So yes, once again, just encourage you to have a read through this info there so that you're aware of your obligations to the college, but also the obligations that we as a college have towards you to provide the best training we can and support. So we scroll right through to the last page. We've talked about here about library. There's some practical helps here that we can offer to you. And then the final page is a glossary of terms. So if you're unsure of what these words mean about a competency or what Eva Burrows College is, we've given a brief description here of what that looks like. So let me go on now and take you to Teams. That's what we want to do. Let's have a look. I will share my screen again, and I'll take you to Microsoft Teams, because when you're enrolled into a class, you'll also be connected to a team. We use Microsoft Teams as a way to use video conferencing to connect students, but also the way to view your recorded classes. Your trainer records their classes, then you'll find them in your team. So when you log in, we will send you the link. This is the sort of page you'll get. It'll show the team that you're part of, the class, and you'll be able to check on your assignments. But what I might do first is show you to files. So under general, you've got posts and files. Files includes your class materials. So you click on that and you'll see your assessment booklet and cover sheet are included in there. So there they are. We might also provide some additional handouts like this folder. And as your trainer records, there'll be a record folder pop up here. You can click on that and you can watch the class again. So these other folders of mark sheets and trainers, that's what your trainer will see, because that's how they'll record your result using a mark sheet. So how do you go about submitting your work? Good question. Over here is grades. We'll click on that. And I want to show you, for example, open student work. And I'll click on this take action in student view. This is how it'll look for you. You'll see the assessment cover sheet and assessment booklet here. You can click on the assessment cover sheet and fill it in Teams. We'll also send you a Word doc. We just don't want you to feel stuck and not have the resources you need, but you can fill in your details here and it'll be saved in Teams, and your trainer will be able to give their feedback down here. So you've put in your name and the task title, you put the date when you've submitted it, you click these boxes here to show that the purpose of the assessment has been explained to me. There's some tick boxes there. And then you can leave that in that team and your trainer will find it. But if you've typed out an assessment task on a Word document, or you're using PowerPoint, or you've used a video or Excel spreadsheet, whatever it might be, you can attach those documents. So you click on here and you can upload from your device, and then you click over here, hand it in, and your trainer will see your work in Teams and be able to mark it in Teams and give you a result. Perhaps they might ask you for further work, or they'll record it as a satisfactory aspect of your study. Once all tasks are satisfactory, you're recorded as competent. So once again, I did mention to you on the college website that under student resources, there's a Teams guide. So that will take you step by step how to use Teams, but I did want to at least give you a quick look of what it looks like. So I think that brings us to an end. So trust that you have a great journey as a Kingsley student. Be assured that our trainers are always here to give you the support you need. You can email them or give them a call. You'll be provided with their email address and their phone number. They'll get back to you as soon as they're able, or if you need to contact me, you're welcome to do that. You'll see the college number and my email address on the website. Then we will encourage you, support you wherever we need, or connect you with the resources you need to be a great student, to succeed, to learn and grow and develop as a minister of the gospel. So God bless you in this journey ahead, and we look forward to seeing you grow and develop and follow God's call on your life. God bless you. Bye for now.